Tolerating discomfort, the tragic normalization of pain in Black girlhood. Tolerating a prolonged state of discomfort is strange, not because discomfort itself is rare, but because humans instinctively seek relief. When someone remains in pain, physical, emotional, or environmental, for extended periods, it signals something far deeper than resilience. It suggests social conditioning, normalized trauma, and the erasure of one's self-worth. In 2023, at a bus stop in downtown Oakland, I witnessed the aftershock of a young woman's escape from a life-threatening situation, and it crystallized a broader question. Why was her tolerance for abuse so high? She was just 19, disheveled and bruised, sprinting through downtown streets to survive. Her story unfolded in fragments between shallow breaths. She'd been beaten by her boyfriend, chased across the city, and nearly murdered. The physical evidence of her trauma, ripped clothing, a bleeding forehead, panic in her eyes, was undeniable. But what struck me most was how much pain she had endured before she ran. What pushed her to stay until the threat became lethal? This kind of tolerance doesn't emerge overnight. It's built slowly through exposure, like skin forming calluses under repeated pressure. For many Black girls, childhood is a training ground in silence. They are taught both explicitly and implicitly that their pain is expected, their discomfort is ordinary, and their endurance is a form of pride. Crying is weakness. Complaining is ungrateful. Asking for help is betrayal. And so the body absorbs blow after blow, never questioning whether it was supposed to. Discomfort becomes familiar, even comforting in its predictability. The chaos at home, the unreliability of caretakers, the sexual harassment at school, the absence of safety nets. All of it contributes to a framework where dysfunction is not only normal, but expected. In that world, abuse doesn't announce itself as an anomaly. It doesn't scream, "Get out." Instead, it whispers, "This is how it is." And so, a young woman might stay until a gun is drawn, because everything leading up to that moment looked like what she already knew. This is the hidden architecture of survival in communities where Black girl pain is overlooked. No one asked her, "Why are you still with him?" Instead, they likely said, "What did you do?" Her story is not isolated. It is woven into the fabric of a culture that pathologizes Black women as strong, as unbreakable, as fighters. But strength in this context becomes a curse. It tells girls like her to keep walking on broken legs, to smile through busted lips, to keep secrets for the sake of saving face. Even when these girls try to speak, their stories are filtered through stereotypes. The angry Black girl, the fast girl, the ride or die. Each trope distracts from the truth of her suffering. These narratives don't protect her, they trap her. They ensure that when she's crying in the street, she's seen as dramatic or unstable rather than endangered. They make it easier for society to walk past her instead of helping her. But what if her life had been different? What if the adults around her had intervened the first time she cried about being scared? What if her teachers had asked why she was tired every morning instead of assuming laziness? What if the community had wrapped around her before her boyfriend ever raised a hand? These what ifs haunt every story like hers. They remind us that tolerance for discomfort is not innate. It is taught, reinforced, and institutionalized. There is also the matter of her environment. Oakland, like many American cities, contains pockets of deep poverty, violence, and generational trauma. Within these neighborhoods, policing is both under-responsive and over-aggressive. The help she needed wasn't available when the first signs of danger appeared. Resources like counseling, shelters, and interventions for domestic abuse are sparse or difficult to access. In the absence of help, she had to normalize the harm. And yet, she ran. Her body, even after enduring so much, still held on to a kernel of self-preservation. It's important to highlight this moment because it's a small act of resistance. A young woman sprinting 28 blocks while concussed is doing more than surviving. She's breaking a cycle. Her flight was not just about escape, it was about a declaration. I want to live. Still, the fact that it took such an extreme act, a near-death experience, to trigger intervention reveals how late we are to respond. Police, ambulances, and family only came after the crisis. But what about the days leading up to it? Who was checking in when she missed school, when she withdrew from friends, when she was too scared to go home? To tolerate prolonged discomfort is strange. It distorts time, blurs danger, and redefines what love and loyalty mean. But perhaps the strangest of all is how many people expect Black girls to do just that. They praise our toughness while abandoning them to face monsters alone. We film their outbursts, shame their choices, and ignore their pleas until they are bleeding and breathless on a street corner. So what can we do? We can start by interrupting the culture of silence. We can make room for Black girls to speak without being labeled. We can teach them that love should not hurt. We can build systems that respond to whispers instead of waiting for screams. We can see their pain before it becomes a police report. And most importantly, we can stop expecting them to endure, because tolerating prolonged discomfort is not strength. It's a red flag. And until we name it as such, girls like the one I met will continue to run, alone, injured, unseen, through the streets of cities that should have protected them.